the reason you're here, the very funny Gianmarco Soresi.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome to the epicenter of the second wave. Don't be worried. I know I'm not going to die from coronavirus because I'm the main character. And the cases are low in New York. I took my first Uber this week since March, but I was rusty because I told my Uber driver I'm a stand-up comedian. And without a moment's thought, he said, "Oh, stand-up comedy's only funny if you're, like, really drunk." I was like, "Oh, yeah, no, I feel the same way about talking to my Uber driver." So you can thank him for your free beers. But it's nice to be with people. Social distancing has been so hard for me because I'm Italian. And, are you Italian? Yeah, so you know, we're very physically affectionate people. Not everyone's into it, though. Like, I was seeing a woman once who was not Italian, and I remember the first time she saw my dad and I kiss each other goodbye, she was just like, "Ew. Do you kiss your dad in public?" And I was like, yeah. You know what'd be weird? If I only kissed him in private. If I was like, "Hey, Pops, let's get out of here for a proper goodbye." And now when I see my dad, we're like scared to hug. It's like we're Irish. But thank you for coming. Congrats to you on surviving the 1918 flu. I'm so lonely. I tried going on a Zoom date, but there was no connection. Fuck you, it's cute. It's a cute joke. What do you even talk about, like, on how do you date? How do you date? What do you talk about on dates? You'd be like, "Oh, what did you used to do for work? What was your mom's name?" My roommate's really good at the Zoom dates. My roommate met this woman on Bumble, and before the Zoom date, he Postmated her flowers, and then he Grubtubbed her dinner, and then he FedExed some cum for her back. My roommate actually moved from China to America in January, which is like boarding the Titanic from the iceberg. Having roommates during coronavirus, it feels like I'm in an unfaithful marriage. Like every time he comes home, I'm like, "Where the fuck have you been? Did you wear protection, or were you a dirty slut?" I've been proud of New Yorkers, though. Most New Yorkers have been wearing their masks. I still see a lot of couples where the woman's wearing a mask and the man is not, and it's always the man. Like now when I meet a gay couple, I'm like, "So who doesn't wear the mask in this relationship?" And I guess they said it's because there's a lot of men who think wearing a face mask is feminine. And you're not going to convince those kind of men with science. You need to get Dr. Fauci out there to be like, "Oh, you don't want to wear the mask? Why? So you can suck dick faster?" It's not progressive. It's not progressive at all. But people are dying, and we got to move. And then, of course, every time I'm in Brooklyn, I see so many. I'm Jewish, so this is okay? Whenever I'm in Brooklyn, I don't tell people I'm Jewish unless I'm losing an argument. But every time I'm in Brooklyn, I see so many Hasidic Jews not wearing a face mask, and it's so easy for them. Just pull the yarmulke down. You got the ties right there. Of course, a lot of Republicans won't wear a face mask because we told them it helps other people. We should have said it hurts immigrants. I don't think Trump did a good job with coronavirus. I'll say it. I'll fucking say it. to this courtyard in Williamsburg. But it's even more upsetting because I think Trump could have done a great job fighting coronavirus, because hate him all you want. He knows how middle America thinks. Like in the beginning when he said we're at war with an invisible enemy, he should have just stuck with that, because the only thing Americans like really rally behind is war. Okay, you can't tell us to wash our hands. No, you need to waterboard your hands for 2 national anthems to kill the viral extremists. That's how you fight global warming. Enough with like Earth is beautiful stuff. You need to get Alex Jones to be like, Mother Earth is converting to Islam. So you better recycle her. There's gonna be Sharia fall. My dad voted for Trump, but I let it slide because he pays my rent. He'll always be a socialist to me. We used to fight a lot about Bernie Sanders, and once my dad said, you know who else was all about universal health care? Adolf Hitler. And I was like, well, not for everybody. I got pissed. I said, give me one good argument against giving free access to a college education. And he was like, you motherfucker. I felt the burn. I told my dad, I said, if you vote for Trump again, I will not speak to you for the next 4 years. So now my mom's voting for him too. My father is quarantining with his new girlfriend. And I like my dad's new girlfriend because we have a lot in common, like being born in 1988. It's weird. He likes dating younger. I like dating older. So when we go on a double date, it looks like a family dinner. But at the end of the night, the waiter thinks I'm kissing my mom and my dad's kissing my sister, and he's like, please be Italian. You know, my father has been, he's been pretty healthy, but he's old. You know, he's almost 70. He's got some heart stuff. And with coronavirus still going on, he called me a couple weeks ago to go over his will, just in case. And I started crying because I think it's the first time I realized I might not need a new job. I booked my first big gig since coronavirus started. I'm going to be performing stand-up comedy on one of the first Carnival cruises that comes back next month. That's not a joke. It's a real gig that I have that I'm excited about. I tell you, it pays very well. I'm very excited. It goes from Miami to the Bahamas and then heaven. And the top deck is one of those pools where you can swim to your ventilator. I'm so excited. Did you have any vacation stuff get canceled? What, you had more than one thing? Fuck you. The only vacation plan I had get canceled because I don't have money was I had tickets. It got moved to next year, but I have tickets to the Titanic 2. Which, I don't know if you heard of it. This is you heard of it? The real thing. There's this Australian billionaire. He's recreating the Titanic, and it's going to go along the exact same route as the original, because global warming made it safer. And like, and you know that like none of the passengers are going to be like reflective. Because they'll be too busy at the front of the ship, like, take a picture, Brian! Now let's go find a car and fucking it. I love the Titanic. We've all seen the Titanic, right? Yeah? You might have had a friend on it. My favorite scene from the Titanic, you remember at the end of the movie when the ship's going down and there's that quartet playing music? And they're like, we're gonna die, let's just fuck in. Those passengers were so lucky it wasn't a stand-up comedian. Can you imagine? Like, everyone's running around screaming, and then I come out there like, oh, I asked for whiskey on the rocks, but this is ridiculous. If you like corny jokes, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Speaking of icebergs, that thing's so big, I thought it was President Taft. Enough politics. Knock, knock. Who's there? The poor people trapped downstairs. The poor people trapped downstairs. Who? Exactly. Thank you, thank you. Don't be sad. It's just a movie. I always knew I was non-essential. But it hurt coming from the government. I've been talking about it with my therapist. I've been seeing my therapist over Zoom. It's so weird seeing my therapist over Zoom because I've never seen inside my therapist's apartment before with her knowing. I had to be like, oh, is that a doggy door? Pretty big. She wrote me this long email, like, even though we're meeting on Zoom, I should continue to dress like we're meeting in person, which I think was code for wear pants. But I was already doing that. I don't want my therapist to see my erection. I've been doing a lot of yoga. I take it at the studio in New York called Laughing Lotus, which is an Indian term that means white people ruined our culture. And I was doing an outdoor vinyasa in Central Park. And in honor of Black Lives Matter, my white yoga teacher had us do all the poses with black power fists while playing Despacito. But it made me realize that, like, if you appropriate enough cultures at the same time, it becomes white. Like, if I saw a Korean woman in a native headdress making guacamole, I'd be like, we stole that first. I did some marches for Black Lives Matter. I did some protests. I marched mostly in Harlem to make up for gentrifying Harlem. I live across the new Whole Foods on 125th and Malcolm X Boulevard, which is what he would have wanted. And I wish I should have marched. I hadn't marched a lot before, and I wish I had started with something like less important, like protesting the Whole Foods. Because not all the chants were made for me to say. Like maybe I got a little too into it, but we were walking down Fifth Avenue, and I was like, no justice, no peace, fuck these racist-ass police. I turned to my right, and there were about, I don't know, a dozen black police officers. I was like, it's a trap! Oh, fuck, who's filming me? I short-circuited. I was like, Black Lives Matter, so your lives matter. All lives that are black. Jerron, can we switch places, please? But I learned there's parts I needed to bow out. It's like singing along to Kanye. I think there's a lot of white people trying to help, and they're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna make rookie mistakes, and they're gonna get shit for it. And we deserve that shit because the reason we made so many of those mistakes is because we waited so long to help in the first fucking place. I have these two white friends. They're all white, but I have these two, and the woman, they're a couple. The woman, she's pregnant with a baby boy who's also white. It runs in the family, and they're reading a book about how to teach their son about white privilege. And I think that's great. I think that's great. But a real ally would have used birth control. We don't need more of us at the moment, okay? I'm a real ally. I pull out for progress. I don't post a black square on Instagram. No, I post a white circle, square on her back. I'm trying to be a better person. I donated my iPad to a hospital. So coronavirus patients who can't be with their loved ones in person can at least watch my stand-up. Catastrophe can bring out the best in people. I saw that Mark Zuckerberg donated $25 million to help fight coronavirus. Which sounds great on paper, but I did more research, and it turns out that is 0.023% of his net worth. Me donating 0.023% of my net worth is like if I went up to a homeless guy and stole $1. I already spent my stimulus check on this shit. But we got it in April. I mean, or most of us got it in April. My uncle got his stimulus check 2 weeks ago, and he's been dead for years. He was a Republican too, but now he's voting for Biden. I mean, money's not good for me, but I mean, at least the stock market is doing fantastic. At least on Friday, the NASDAQ was up 200-something points. The Dow was up 490 points. Grandparents are down 6 feet. I'm sorry, all my grandparents are dead, so when people talk about their grandma, I'm like, ugh, grow up. I had a friend write on Facebook, he said that his grandma has coronavirus, and could we please pray for her and share the status? Like it would help her to go viral again. I don't know, it all happened so fast. I remember in March when it was just like a couple dozen confirmed cases, and then in April it was a few thousand. Now we are at over 7 million new podcasts. It's out of control. We're all trying to stay productive. I tried to write like a pilot or a screenplay or something, but there's too many distractions, you know? If Anne Frank had TikTok, there'd be no diary. The Nazis would have caught her doing the attic challenge because she forgot to turn off her location. I'm glad some of these jokes might be a little bit dated. It's very hard right now because like a lot of jokes, they have a much shorter shelf life than they normally do because the world's changing so fast. Like right now we're at a group of like 25 people, pretty much socially distanced. This is what it is now, and then a couple months from now, I mean, most of you will be dead. But it's never going to go back to before. Like, I'm never going to be able to say if I had all the time in the world again. Because now I know if I had all the time in the world, I do fucking nothing. I've loosened up, obviously, but I'm a hypochondriac a little bit. In the beginning, I was just terrified. My friends would call me in March, and I'd be like, can I call you back in 3 hours? I'm cleaning my groceries. I was so stressed. If I went grocery shopping, if I picked up a bad piece of fruit, I wouldn't put it back. I'd be picking apples like, no, applesauce again, why? And I know some of you fuckers were putting it back. I was like playing Minesweeper for my life. I think we can all agree whenever the vaccine comes out and it's spread out that like grocery store cashiers should get to board the plane first, right? It's like, oh, you did 2 tours in Afghanistan? I did 5 weeks, Trader Joe's, motherfucker. You have no idea. I get PTSD every time I see a white woman in line. Grocery store cashiers, medical workers, of course. I feel bad for priests because there's so many Americans were like determined to go back to church, and these priests, this is a very important job. They think it's through God, so the priests have to go back to work even though it's extra dangerous for them because coronavirus can be asymptomatic in little boys. I'm not saying everyone who gets coronavirus is a pedophile, but that would be the worst way to find out. It's like, sorry, your grandma passed, but wait, it gets worse. You have no idea how many dead grandma jokes I cut from this special. It's a lot. Well, I'm wrapping it up soon. I got a Zoom show after this. Going from a live show to a Zoom show, it's like going from having sex with a woman to getting kicked in the dick. It's a brutal. But they got better because at the beginning, the security system for Zoom wasn't as advanced, and like in March and April, there were a lot of Zoom bombers. Like I was doing a show probably in April, and in the middle of my set, a Zoom bomber either hacked into the Zoom or they got the link somehow online, and in the middle of my set, they took over the screen and they put up an image of child pornography. And then it just cut back to me. And I didn't know what to say. I've had some terrible hecklers. I've never had someone jump on stage and fuck a kid. Like, what's the comeback? Hey, buddy, I don't go where you work and interrupt the sermon. I know. That's too many Catholic Church jokes. And I can't help it. Like their victims, they never get old. I did a Zoom show for like a Jewish retirement community. And I mean, this was like everyone was very old on the Zoom call. And the host, this woman, God bless her soul, she brought me onto the show. She said, guys, big round of applause for your psychic comedian. And I was like, you will be disappointed. But it paid $500, so I kept going. And here's the thing, though, it was a clean show. If you cursed at all, sometimes they dock your pay, sometimes they don't pay you at all. And I made it to minute 58 into my 60-minute Zoom show when my neighbor said, "Shut the fuck up." It got the biggest laugh of the night. I did one Zoom show where I was doing that yoga joke, which is notorious for bombing on Zoom. And so I was trying to warm up the crowd to it, and I was in gallery view, and there was this white woman in the upper left-hand corner, and she was kind of like hipstery, had like Zooey Deschanel-like glasses. And I said, "Oh, I do yoga. You look like you do yoga." And she said, "Why? Because I'm Indian?" So I turned up the brightness on my screen. And the lighter it got, the more Indian she became. And I thought, this poor woman paid to see a Zoom show only to be insulted by like a racist John Mulaney, like, "You look like you do yoga." And I did everything I said made it worse. I was like, you look white in the dark. It was so low. You all look black to me. And the only reason I wasn't canceled is because she did do yoga. I think if there's one good thing that came out of coronavirus, it's that a lot of my friends' weddings were canceled. Right? I swear to God, I'd rather be invited to jury duty. I just got the link to my best friend's wedding registry, and one of the things he had on there for me to potentially buy him was a $250 whiskey decanter. I own one spoon. So if you need a decanter, go fuck yourself, okay? No one's selling loose whiskey. And here's how pissed I am. I wrote that joke 3 years ago, which means now there's a baby shower registry. I had to buy this baby, who already has more spoons than me, a book called The Penguin Says Please. 5 pages, $30. Please suck my dick. I own 2 towels. One is a hand towel I got for free for joining Chase Bank, and is exclusively for masturbating. And my only full length is stuffed underneath my air conditioner so it doesn't fall out the fucking window. So every time I shower, I have 2 options: moist or crunchy. And this time, the big ticket item was like a $300 breast pump. Let's save some money. I'll milk her myself. I'll milk her right into that decanter. Thank you. I'm so glad you guys can laugh in all this. I mean, it's so hard to be positive right now. I had like a panic attack a couple nights ago. I called my friend Chris. He's like the calmer downer in the relationship. I freak out, he calms me down. And I called him at like 2 a.m, and I was rambling. I was like, what if with schools going back in session, like it ends up causing some kind of second wave, and Trump uses that to delay the election, and then there's actual riots, and then it turns into a civil war, and America just like collapses into itself. And he was like, dude, you're being over-optimistic. I mean, when this special comes out, when most people see not most people see the special, like when when some of my immediate family see this special, the election will have occurred, and I hope Biden wins, but I do think Trump winning would make the rest of this funnier. Democrats, liberals, very charged up right now. I had a friend post on Twitter. She said, I'm going to vote for the Democratic nominee, even if it is Adolf Hitler, which I thought was weird, because nobody asked her that. Because if those are the options, I'd rather be on the Trump train than the one to Auschwitz. I think Biden will win, because old people like Biden, because he makes them think that someday they could grow up to be president. The one thing I know about the election is that it's going to be a much more somber day. Because if you were here in New York for the 2016 election, we were confident. People were throwing parties and wine tastings. I hosted a comedy show for the night of the 2016 election, and it was my job to update people on the results while keeping the mood fun. So I had to run out there and be like, how's everyone doing tonight? Quick little update. Okay, so they're calling Florida for Trump, but Hillary's still got it in the bag if she gets Ohio, Pennsylvania, and they make Puerto Rico a state. Okay, everybody, next up. And by 2 a.m, I mean, everyone was devastated. Even I was crying, because it was clear I was not getting laid. And I got on the train to Harlem. This was in Brooklyn. I was going to Harlem, and there were like 10 of us just spread out on the train. I mean, all of us, our heads were just buried in our NPR tote bags. And this woman must have seen me looking upset, because she scooted right next to me, and she looked like she'd been crying for hours and hours. And she confided in me. She told me that she was an illegal immigrant, and she was terrified about what her life was going to be like with Trump as president. And I wanted to comfort her, but I was terrified that she told me that so quickly. I was like, girl, you gotta be sneaky, okay? This is Trump's America now. I could be ICE, I'm not, but you gotta be careful. And thank God, soon this man came over. I think he was a lawyer, because he was wearing a suit, and he came over, he started advising her on ways she could protect herself and going forward. And so he was talking to her, and then these 2 NYU kids came over. They were wearing NYU sweaters, and one of them offered their dorm room in case she needed. It was very cute. And soon, I've never seen this in New York before, but the entire train was huddled in one corner. This was before coronavirus, obviously. It felt safe. And even though there were seats, people were standing just so they could be closer to each other. And we just talked for that entire ride to Harlem. As New Yorkers, as Americans, or as people, we just talked. And that experience taught me that when shit really hits the fan, you just gotta take an Uber. I mean, guys, that is my set. Thank you so much. I was very paranoid in the beginning. My friends... Oh, shit. I knew I chanted that shit too loud. I've been doing yoga too, a lot of yoga. I do yoga at this place. Tamani, you look like a yoga person.
Why? Because I'm Indian?
Oh, I couldn't see. I didn't even know you were Indian. Oh my God, that was not racist. I did not see that you were Indian, and now I feel like such a piece of shit. Oh my God. Well, it's raining a little bit more. So I guess, is it noticeable? We'll fix it in post. Rain's a fickle thing.
On the iPhone app, it says that it's only supposed to rain for 15 minutes.
Next special is going to be inside for sure. Okay, all right, I'm getting the light. If you don't know, they give comedians the light to let them know they have 1 minute left. That's why I think when people see the light on their deathbed, it's not heaven. It's just God telling them to wrap it up. I love that joke because for some of you, it's going to be the last thing you ever think.